Wranglerstar. Today's project is going to be, I'm going to show you guys how to properly install a wood stove. This is a little Norwegian wood stove we picked up off Craigslist, made by, I believe it's called Yodel. It's a really nice, high quality, efficient little stove. And I really recommend, if you're going to get a wood stove for your house, and I think that you should, even if you don't install it, if you have a mind to be prepared and would like to get yourself off of the reliance upon foreign oil, natural gas, municipalities, this is an ideal way to do it. You can always get wood. You can always go out and do it yourself. It's a lot of work, yes, but it gives you that independence, and I think it's about the best way to heat. Be careful when you're buying a wood stove. Craigslist is a great place, but remember that the EPA has banned wood stoves around that date before about 1985 and back. So generally, you can check your local codes, but a 1986 wood stove is going to be okay. It's going to be legal, and you can see on the back the manufacture date will be on a tag on the back of all the wood stoves. If it's not there and you're not sure, certainly pass it up. There is something to look out for. A lot of the early 1986, 87, 88 wood stoves used a catalytic converter system to clean up the wood smoke. And those are really prone to plug up and are very expensive to repair, if you can repair them at all. So avoid those at all costs. Burning a Presto log, burning any type of shiny paper inside of them will clog them up, and they are not, just pass them by. You don't want them. You want one that has kind of a, I don't know what you call it, but typically it'll have tubes inside and that help to reburn the wood smoke and are just more efficient. Those are going to be your best bet. So I can't go into all the details of every stove, but just to touch on that, give you kind of an idea of what you're looking for, and you'll have to kind of educate yourself. This particular stove is, I went to the stove shop, had to get a few things. It retails for about almost $2,000, and that's just the stove. That doesn't include any of the piping or any of the supports or any of that. Know this, if you're going to buy these things brand new, the cost of installation and just the piping alone is most likely going to exceed the cost of the stove. So I really, really urge you, when you buy a wood stove and you're looking for one used, be sure to get as much of that piping as you can, because it is so expensive. Some of those things are the stainless line pipes are, you'd be looking at $300 or so for a 4-foot section. It is not completely, not out of it's totally realistic. So this particular stove came with a lot of that stuff, and I've sourced a lot of the other stuff used. Some of the things I had to buy new, but I'll take you outside right now and show you the components that we're going to need to install this, and we'll get started. Alright, behind me you see I've got laid out here are the components for the chimney system to install this. As I said before, this stuff is really expensive to buy it new. So I really recommend you be patient and look on Craigslist and find this stuff used. Be careful though, because all this stuff is proprietary, so it fits together differently. You cannot mix different manufacturers typically. So you have to be sure that you are aware of that when you're purchasing it. Now is the time to spend the money on this stuff. If you go cheap, if you go single wall pipe, you're going to end up doing it again, and you're going to run a really high risk of burning your house down. So people have been using wood stoves and putting wood stoves in their homes for a long time, and the technology has really been distilled down to what it currently is now, and it's actually very safe. What I'm going to show you are stainless steel double wall pipes, and I recommend those because, one, they last a lifetime, they'll never rot out on you, and the second thing is they don't produce near as much heat on the outside, so you can have your stove a lot closer to walls. You don't have to have the setbacks off of the pipes like you do with single walls, and it just is really a peace of mind. You'll install it right once, you'll never have to fool with again if you do it correctly. So let's start at the connection to the stove. All right, this particular stove, the pipe will come right out the back of it. And you see right here is a T. This is going to be where we connect to the stove right here, so the smoke will come out and up. The reason for this T is that there's a cap in the bottom of this, and as creosote and ash and stuff builds up in the chimney over time and we sweep it, we can take that cap loose, put a bucket under there with a vacuum, and clean all that out. And that way we don't have to take the whole pipe apart to do that. So as you can see right here, this is a pipe made by Security in Canada, and it's a double wall pipe. If you can see this here, inside of this is a stainless steel liner, and that's what you want. And you can see that there's some air vents right here. This helps also to keep the pipe cool by introducing air into it. So this is what is going to be exposed. Now fortunately we got this pipe, which is exceedingly expensive, with the stove, and it looks a little bit raggedy, but don't worry about that. As long as it's not too dented up and it's in decent shape, all you need to do is simply prime it and paint it. And this is a really good product right here. So take your pipe, make sure you clean it really good with some steel wool and sandpaper. Use this high temperature primer first, and then you're going to use just your spray can black. And I recommend this particular color here. It's number 6309, and the reason for that is it has some metallic in it. And one thing about metallic is it helps hide defects. So if you're trying to rejuvenate an old pipe and you want it to look as nice as possible, this is going to give you the best coverage. It's going to look the best. And you can get the stuff at any stove store. The next thing we're going to want is some high temperature silicone, and that's actually going to come into play up on the roof when we do the storm collar, but just a small amount like this is just fine. One thing I would really recommend if you're going to do the install, if you see this section of pipe right here, let me back up a little bit. Right here, this is obviously where we're going to connect to the stove. How this is designed is that this piece slides up and down. And that's really helpful when you're trying to adjust the chimney height. If you're trying to use exact sections, like 2 or 3 foot sections, you're going to have to either cut them. It's really going to be a nightmare. This way you can hook it onto the stove and you can just slide it up right into your support and screw it in, bolt it in, and it's going to be a perfect fit. So I would not install without one of these. I don't know what it's called. I've used them a couple times, but they are really, really slick. Alright, the next piece that we're going to be installing, and it's kind of the backbone of the whole chimney, is called the support box. And as you can see here, this is just simply a sheet metal box. Now remember, this is proprietary. You can see in here is a stainless steel collar. This will fit Security pipe, which we're using over here, and it will lock right in there. What this will also do is that this will, when everything is finished, that this is going to protrude out of the ceiling, whatever your preference is. Probably a couple inches is probably about right. And then the black pipe I just shared with you is going to hook to this. This is also going to support the weight of the chimney. We're going to go up in the attic. We have to do a little bit of framing. It's quite simple. We'll screw this in, secure it very tight, and this will be kind of, as I said, the backbone of the system. This particular pipe that I'll be using on the chimney, this stainless steel double wall Security, is really nice pipe. It is going to be on the exterior. The reason for stainless steel is that it's not going to rot. When you introduce a chimney to outside, to rain, weather, snow, it's the worst possible environment. It will rust so quickly because it heats and cools and heats and cools, and it's constantly wet. I have seen thick pipe that people have used, well casing and stuff, completely rust out in just a matter of 2 or 3 years. It's just very quickly. Stainless steel will not. The other nice thing about the Security pipe is you can put this as close as 2 inches to combustibles. That's how well insulated it is, which is really helpful when you're going through your attic. You just have that peace of mind that you're not going to start a fire. This pipe we're going to be using is 8 inch. Normally new stoves are going to be 6 inch, 7 inch, I think 6 inch primarily. I salvaged this stuff off the house from the chimney on another application, so this is what I'm going to use. The stove that we're using is actually 7 inch, and so what I've had to do is find this. This is an adapter. So what I'm doing is coming out 8 into 7, and this is a nice stainless steel collar. And don't worry about all the way this looks. You know, there's always there's flashing kits and trim kits. So we'll clean all this up. We'll paint it all up. It'll look nice. It's no problem. And last, you can see here is the exterior stainless steel double wall pipe, and this will actually go from the ceiling up through the attic space and poke out of the roof. And as you can see, stainless steel, it's all insulated. You can see right here the way it's got these little louvers here. It's just a twist lock. You put them together and twist them. They're going to come in all different sections, lengths, from 1 foot up to 4 foot, I think maybe even 6 foot. I don't know if I've seen that, but this is really great pipe, lifetime pipe. We're going to have to cut a hole in the ceiling also. One thing I need to add is that there is a trim kit right here. And how this works is as this section of the support pokes through our ceiling, these things are going to go around and we're going to be able to trim the ceiling. So if we cut our hole just a little bit too big, it's not a big deal. This will slide on there and clean all that up, and we'll just put some screws in there, and it'll look nice. The reason why these are two pieces and they're so long is if you have a vaulted ceiling, they'll mount at an angle, and you can adjust for whatever the vault is. So it's kind of a universal style trim kit. Alright, the next piece that we're going to have here is the roof flashing. And these are sold, they kind of by whatever your pitch is. This particular one is made by Simpson. Most of you guys in construction are familiar with them. You can get them in aluminum or heavy galvanized like this. Be sure you know the pitch of your roof, because if you have a 12-12 pitch, it's going to be obviously steeper than if you have a 5 or 6-12 pitch. So have that kind of pretty close in mind. There is a little bit of variation on it. But you can see here that our stainless steel pipe is going to go right through here. And what we'll do, I'll take you up on the roof and we'll flash this all in, and this will keep the weather from coming into our house in the rain. Once the pipe comes out of there, we'll have a piece called a storm collar, and this will mount around here and provide a little extra layer of protection, and this is where our silicone that I shared with you will come into play. The last thing, I believe, is going to be the support bracket. We're going to have a chimney that's sticking out of the pretty high up out of the roof, and it's going to be susceptible to wind and snow, and we need to secure it. So what this is a bracket system that will clamp around the pipe, and these support bars will tie back, and we will connect these to the roof, and this will give it some rigidity and strength. So more on that when we get up on the roof. So that is pretty much it for the components. We have the inside, we have our paint, we have our silicone, we have our stainless steel exteriors, we have our support box with our adapter from 8 to 7, trims, we have our flashing kit, and our support brackets. So this is not a difficult job. If I were to pay retail for all of this stuff, including the stove, let's add it up. We have $2,000 for the stove. We probably have about $2,500 just in the piping alone, more than the stove. So what are we at there? We're at $4,500. You can add another $1,500 very easily for the install. So $45,500, so $6,000 to have this stove, and that doesn't include any permits that you might need to take out. You know, when I'm sharing this video with you, I'm doing this to code in my particular area. So I don't have any idea what the code is in other states or other countries. So that is your responsibility. This is purely informational, and you do have the responsibility to be sure that you are installing these safely and you're not going to burn your house down. So if you're competent to do it, I recommend it. If not, or you have any concerns, you might want to look to certainly some professional help. But that's it. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started. So the first piece we're going to install is we kind of have the stove roughly where we want it to be. Now keep in mind when you're installing a stove, it's got to sit on a hearth or some tile or some type of a non-combustible. So that is something I'll be doing here shortly. It won't be in this video, but this is simply going to be installing the chimney. So don't think that it's going to be used right on the wood floor like that. Okay. So we've got our clean out tee that I showed you, and what we need to do is we need to fasten it to this. So this being cast iron and steel here, we need to make this connection. So I'll use some self-tapping screws, go through here, connect this. Usually these chimneys need to be connected at 3 points, so look at a triangle. So here, here, in there. Alright, here are a few of the tools that we'll be using installed on the inside. Cordless drill, torpedo level, tape measure, something to mark with, a screwdriver, and one thing that's not required but it's really handy is a laser. This particular one is self-leveling. You simply turn it on, and what it does is it shoots, you can see there a little bit, it shoots a beam on either on the floor, as you can maybe see right there, I'll put in the tape measure, and on the ceiling. Gives you exact plumb. You could do the same thing with a plumb bob, or even a flashlight that will tail stand. You can send this. What the reason for it is we want to know exactly where the chimney is going to come in contact with the ceiling. So I'll demonstrate that. Here's a little side note, something that will really change your life. If you are a do-it-yourself guy, you like to do projects around the house, a lot of the time can be wasted and spent looking for fasteners. I had been using these organizers here from Home Depot sells them. They're Husky, but what they are, essentially, they come with a bunch of containers, and they open up, and they're really made well. It's got a heavy aluminum handle, and I'll show you just kind of the way I've done it. So I've just got screws, various screws, galvanized nails, roofing nails, sinkers, just all the little things that I'm going to need for projects around the house. And then I've got a little more detailed stuff up in the top. Bolts and washers and finish nails and drywall anchors and just all the little things you're always needing. I've seen these from, I think maybe Sears has a version of them. They're not very expensive. The best one I've seen is this one made by Husky at Home Depot, but this is fantastic. You can grab your tool bag with all of your tools in it, you can grab this, and you are not going to be searching around for fasteners. Whenever you get a hardware kit in something you purchase, you always have little things left over. It's really a good idea to throw them in here because they are just invaluable, especially when you're a long ways away like we are from a hardware store. This can save you hundreds of dollars and lots of time. Alright, this is where your torpedo level is going to come into play. You're going to use it to level your initial pipe. You want to always start out, if you start out right here, you'll be good the rest of it. There's nothing worse than sitting back and looking for the next 20 years at a crooked stovepipe. A piece of hardware fasteners that I really like are these self-tapping screws. You see it's got a little Phillips pan head, and it actually has a little drill bit, a cutting bit on the end of it. And you'll be surprised how thick a steel they'll go through. It saves you from looking for a drill bit, and it just saves a step. And even in this heavy cast iron, I was able to run it simply through. We got our T installed. Put a piece of 2x4 over there and roughly estimate what the center of the pipe is, and then we're going to transfer the laser signal up onto the ceiling, and we're going to do a little test hole up here to see, make sure that we're not going to run into a floor joist or rafter. I already have an inspection hole, so I kind of have a rough idea what's up there, but I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to come in relationship to the rafters. So you may want your stove to be in a particular place. You might have to be a little bit flexible with that. So I'm going to use just a drill with a hole saw here. And you can do this with a flashlight too. You could tail stand a small flashlight right there, transfer the signal up, or the light up there, and see. Remember though, when you are drilling these holes or cutting holes in your drywall, save the pieces because you can put them back in. It'll save you a lot of time. Alright, once we determine where the stovepipe supports going to have to go, then what you do is you want to ideally would go along a piece of framing like this floor joist here so we can screw into it, and then we'll trace out and cut this out. It should fit right up inside there like that. Now if this is overcut just a little bit, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal because we have a trim piece that will go around there. You just don't want to be overcut more than about an inch or so. So ideally I think what looks best is to have this box exposed about, I would say about 2 inches. So I'm going to go upstairs and I've got to cut out the floor and put some framing in and mount this and secure this. And then we'll push it up and then fasten it to the framing. Hey!
Alright, I'm up here in the attic. I'm in the process of mounting the support box. As you can see right here, the stovepipe down there. And I've got a floor joist here and a floor joist right here. Obviously we want to be able to mount this thing securely. So what I've done is I've put a piece of 2x6 spanning across these two floor joists so I can screw in on three sides. I can go here, here. I've got another one cut right here, which I'll put alongside, and then I'll screw in here also. Make sure you bring your level up with you, because you want to be sure that this box is level both ways. Oh, sorry, it's going to look funny. Your trim down below is going to the reveal is going to be off. So once I'll go ahead and get this last piece of framing in and mount the box. Here's a tip for you when you guys are working with construction lights or area lights. If you use normal bulbs, if you knock them or bump them, they'll go out, and they're just not very durable. You can go to your hardware store and get a light bulb. It's 100 or 150 watt. It's called a rough service bulb. And the mechanics have used them for years in treble lights. You can drop them, you can bang them around, and they'll last a long, long time. They're just a lot more robust and a lot stronger. The filaments inside are much thicker. So you're going to pay about $10 for one, but it'll last you for years and years and save you a lot of aggravation. So let's get the framing finished up. Alright, we got our framing in. We spanned across here with this piece of material here across the floor joist. One here. We've got one over here, and then of course we've got the floor joist itself. So what I've got is I've got 6 screws in here, 3 points of contact. If you want to get real anal, you can even put another one across here and have 4, but typically I think engineers agree that 3 points of contact are sufficient to support this, as we're not talking about that much weight. Okay, with the support installed, we've got our first piece of stainless pipe here. Snapped it in, and now we've got our laser or flashlight centered on the center of the pipe, and that's transferring a mark up here to the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a penetration to the outside, through the roof, and that way I know what the center is, and I can go up there and we can cut a hole safely, knowing that we're cutting it in the right place. This is a part that's a little scary for some people, but if you take your time and use a laser or a plumb bob and double check your measurements, you'll be just fine. There is plenty of room for lots of room to overcut, so it doesn't have to be super critical. All right, just using a 1-inch hole saw on my cordless drill, I have made my penetration to the outside right there. So now I know that the outside of my pipe right here is about 10 inches. And I know from manufacturers told me that I can go as close as 2 inches away from anything that's going to catch fire. So what that tells me is my hole up here needs to be about 12 inches in diameter. So using the laser, I'll leave it here, double check that I'm on the center of the pipe. Now I'll go up on top, and using either a Sawzall or a jigsaw, I will cut out the hole in the roof and get ready for the flashing. Right, here we are up on the roof, and just made my initial cut. Make sure you cut a little bit small. Now remember, to find out what the distance that is required for a setback between a combustible and the pipe that you're using. This particular one is 2 inches, so you can see right there I don't have enough, but I cut a little bit smaller just to size it, make sure that the pipe is plumb, and now I'll go ahead and mark it and make sure that I have that 2 inches setback so I don't run the risk of starting a fire with this. One of the tools that's just going to be essential for you guys that are doing home projects and different things is a good Sawzall. I've used all of them, and the one I like the most is the DeWalt. And there's one reason. DeWalt is a good quality tool, but what I like about this one in particular, what's really come in handy, a feature that I haven't seen on the other ones, is the way you can mount the blade. So you can mount the blade straight up, from left to right, or you can redo it and mount it this way. This comes in really handy when you have low clearance, and it's just a really good, powerful, robust tool. The blade you're going to want to use typically for remodel projects is a bimetal blade, and you can get these at any hardware store. They have a smaller tooth. They're not just for wood. They're strong enough that they'll cut through nails and such. So a bimetal blade is your best all around. So let's go ahead and mark this out and finish our cut. Okay, we got the hole finished up here. As you can see, it's going to be a little bit oval. That's because of the angle of the roof, but as you can see there, we got a good 2 inches plus of the opening is bigger than the pipe, so we're well within spec there. We don't have to worry about that hot pipe coming in contact with anything consumable. So that's what you want to see, just like that. That's just fine. Don't worry about it being a little bit oversized. The flashing is quite large, and it will more than cover all that up. Finished installing the flashing. When doing this on the uphill side, you want to make sure that this flashing is tucked up underneath the shingles, at least 2 inches or so. The more the better. And when you're fastening it down, use these sheet metal screws that they use for metal roofing and metal siding. They have a little neoprene rubber gasket on there, and what it does is when it goes through, it makes a seal and prevents any water. Alright, I just finished up putting on the support brace. What seemed to make sense to me is, you see right here we have 3 sections of pipe we're dealing with. And I put this collar, which clamps down tight around the pipe, right at the joint. I split it right on the joint, so that'll just give it a little bit of extra strength and really lock those 2 pipes together. This is a pretty slick bracket. It just comes back. It's got these set screws here, and you've got some adjustment, telescopes, and then you've got just kind of a bracket right there that will bolt or screw down right to your roofing. So this will give it a lot of strength, support. I was able to put my level on the side right there and adjust these support arms to plumb the chimney so it's nice and straight. We've got the rain cap installed, which will keep rain from coming down inside. There's lots of different options on those. This just happened to be the one that I had that I'm reusing from the house. So there we have it. So now it's just a matter of finishing up the weather collar and siliconing all of the tops of these screws just for a little bit of extra waterproof protection. When you're putting your support brackets on, just give them a little bit of a spread. Just kind of make kind of a triangle there. It gives a little bit of strength. Now you're going to have to determine how high your chimney should stick above your roof, and generally you use the rule of 10 and 2, which means if you take a tape measure and you measure a horizontal line all the way back to your roof, your chimney at that point needs to be at least 2 feet higher than where you come into contact with that. So as you can see here, I'm well within that, and that will prevent sparks from landing, help prevent sparks from landing on your roof and possibly causing a fire. So everything looks good. I just checked it for level. Everything is plumb and looks good. So we'll go ahead and put the storm collar on, which will prevent water from going down between the pipe and the flashing unit there, and a couple more screws in the bottom, and silicone everything in. Okay, to install the storm collar here, this is just kind of a universal. You see you've got 2 holes there, probably one for 6-inch, one for 8-inch. Just find the corresponding hole, wrap it around there, kind of like an apron, and fold this back. And it wouldn't be a bad idea, where this is flopping up here, I'll stick a couple self-tapping screws in there and to keep that from coming up or wind from tearing that off. And then we're going to go ahead with our high temperature silicone, and we're going to silicone all the way around this. What this will do was any rain that's going to come down the chimney is going to be deflected here, and it won't run down and cause any water damage in the house. Okay, just finished up the storm collar. As you can see, I've got a nice little bead of high temperature silicone there. Put a couple self-tapping panhead screws in there to hold that collar down, and everything looks good. One thing I added was I had another joint right here. I've got 2 joints. I've got this one here that I covered and tightened down with the roof brace, and then I've got the second one. I just happened to have an extra collar from some piping I had around, and I just went ahead and clamped that around there too. It's probably not necessary. It's just an extra little touch, and I like to do things as well as I can and make things so I don't have to do them twice. And so if you have something like that, you might consider it. It just has added a lot of strength and rigidity to it, and I see no downside. To finish up, take a bit of your silicone and just cover all those screw heads. They're probably not required, but what's it going to hurt? You got the extra silicone, go ahead and use it, and it's just a little bit of extra insurance, as well as the brackets up there penetrating the roof for the window, for the roof, the supports. Go ahead and cover those real good, and that'll save you any little potential problems or leaks. Alright, there you have it. A properly installed, safe chimney. It was not a difficult project. Better set apart the better part of the day to do this.
I'll go down inside and make the connections at the stove next, but wasn't too bad. Looks alright and done correctly, so I can sleep well at night knowing that I'm not going to burn my house down. One thing you might consider when doing this, make sure you don't choose to do this on a hot day. You'll be up and down and walking around on your, if you have comp shingles like this and it's real hard on the shingles, your boots will knock a lot of the sand off, and actually it looks kind of bad. It's just not good for the roof. So do it in the morning, or choose a day where it's not too hot to be up on the roof, and you shouldn't have any problems. Alright, here we've got our adapter installed, a stainless steel reducer from 8-inch to 7-inch. And I've got that fastened by 3 screws. And remember, always when you're doing stovepipe, that the crimped end goes down. It's kind of contour to what you would think. You would think the smoke going up, that it would be the other way. But what it does is it prevents any creosote or any water or anything from running down and staining the outside of your pipe. So always be sure that your crimp is pointing down and you'll be alright. So next we have a trim piece, which I'll install. It will go up and finish this off. The trim install looks nice. That covers up that crimped area. Nice way to finish it out.